Welcome to the Beyond Belief series, where we're taking a soulful look at the Bible. Here we explore our divine existence and get real about the conversations we were once afraid to have. This is esoteric insight, truth telling, and honest self investigation. We're sharing how old fear based stories have sparked an empowered shift in our awareness. It's going to be fun, y'all. It's live. It's safe to be here because we are definitely going beyond belief. You can find us live on YouTube Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Be sure to follow the show, subscribe to the channel, and join the conversation. Leave us a kind rating or a comment if this speaks to your soul. All right, family, let's get into it. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the Beyond Belief series where we have been taking a soulful look at the Bible scriptures and viewing them through an esoteric lens. Da'Vette is an intuitive mystic and a bridge walker between the realms. She has been channeling between worlds since she was 7 years old, and she definitely brings a very fresh perspective about the Bible. I'm glad to have her alongside of me on this Beyond Belief series. I mean, it's been really good for me to have a different point of view. So before we get into it, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome and thank you for joining us. Smash that subscribe button, smash the like button. It helps to push our content out as we grow this amazing, informative, and forward-thinking channel. And if you are a returning champion, thank you so much for your support. Share this channel with someone that you love. What's up, Da'Vette?
What's up?
How you be?
What's up, my friend?
I mean, I tell you what. Well, just so everyone, this is a recording. We could not go live today because sometimes we have to shift. So thank you so much for tuning into this recording.
It's gonna
How
be
was your week?
good.
How was last week?
Oh, my week was
Oh, yes.
good. It was good. It was. You know what, Deb? Let me ask you something. Really, doesn't it seem like time is just speeding up? Really? Like I swear, it was just Monday.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I'm definitely with you there because it seems like it's just collapsing.
Yeah.
I mean, days are like Monday to Monday, and where is all of the in between?
Like, wasn't it just on this day? No, no. That's how it felt.
It's kind of like deja vu, kind of almost like, yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that. I feel like time is collapsing, and I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going
There's
on
so
cosmically
much
in the
going
world.
on, and I tell you, 2025 is chopped up with, planetary movement and just shifting
Yeah.
in consciousness going higher through these disillusionments of government. It's so much going on that
It is so much going
it's
on.
mind twisting. Yeah, yeah.
And I kind of feel it too. Like, I really feel it this week. I felt it emotionally. I was very dense this week. We talked about it, kind of feeling the same way, very heavy, dense, emotional,
Uh-huh.
thinking about humanity, not just like, where are we going as a human species? And I was just very dense this week, a couple days. It's almost like I couldn't get out of it, but I'm so glad that I got out of it. I do not like feeling like that.
I thank God for the law of impermanence, that things move, that's just
And move and
they
change.
move and change. That's the law of impermanence. And
Yes.
I'm so grateful because this week, I too, as a channel, as an empath, I was feeling the collective, like very heavy. I went downstairs, Deb, and I was crying to my mom. I'm like, "Ah, what's going on with you, man?" It's just, because I can feel the
Yes.
anxiety of so many cultures
Maybe
coursing through my veins. I can feel it. I can feel conversations.
you can, and that's very interesting because you are more, I think, aware than I am. I'm just coming into this spiritual awakening. So I'm not really sure all the time what's going on with me. I think I'm learning now that because I am an empath, I'm feeling stuff. Before I kind of turned really to beating up on myself. I didn't know what was going on. Honestly, I mean, I am like the best person that could beat myself up. I mean, I
Girl,
think we all are.
yes, I will
Like,
whoop
I'm my
my
greatest
ass.
beater. I'm just like,
I will
but
tear me up.
I'm learning though. I'm learning to ground myself in when I have conversations with you and other spiritual intuitives. I'm learning to ground myself that I am just feeling what's going on in the cosmic realm in the atmosphere. So
Yeah,
that really that really helps this conversation today. So since we have shifted to this divine frequency conversation with Abiola Abrams' book,
yes,
The Divine Frequency, where she is showing us how to harness the magic of the universal laws
yes.
for transformation, manifestation, and freedom. And so you were just talking about feeling the collective. And so today, of course, we're going to be talking about the law of oneness. The law of oneness. And this is so perfect because I feel like I felt everything. I didn't feel so. It was more things that I was feeling other than my stuff.
Mm-hmm,
It really was.
mm-hmm.
I felt like I was feeling a lot of things, and you too were happening. It was happening simultaneously, and we
Simultaneously.
didn't know.
Didn't have a clue that we were both feeling this. Yeah, because it is, it is the law of oneness. Yeah, last week we did talk about, the law of correspondence, which makes so much sense. And so all of these laws are just like
Connected,
yeah, yeah, that's the word.
interdependent,
Yes,
interdependent.
yes, they're building blocks upon one another. And so, of course, we were going to feel it. I'm sure so many people who have tapped in or who have remembered their gifts, because it's no tapping in, it's just remembering, really.
Just remembering.
So those of us who are remembering who we are, I'm sure a lot of us felt that. It's just
Mm.
because we understand the interconnectedness of us all. Yeah.
Of us
Hmm.
all. Wow.
Hmm.
Well, this week, everyone, family, we're going to tease you a little bit with the law of oneness. And the meaning of Ubuntu is I am because we are.
I don't like that.
Abrams suggests that you are. Look, Abiola suggests that you're never really alone, guys. We're never. What does that mean? I just, this is funny. We could talk about this. I know what it means now, but I'm telling you, whenever you channeled my ancestors and you kind of ushered in this spiritual awakening for
It's
me, this is how my face looked.
Yeah, no, it was a little bit more
We're not
disturbing.
we're not alone.
Yeah,
Yes, we are not by ourselves.
absolutely, we're not by ourselves. And that is the biggest cover up of the church. That's the biggest cover up of religion. I'm not going to say the church, okay? So that's the biggest cover up
Right.
of religion, because what religion does, it gives you a club to belong to.
Not the religious club.
Yep,
Not like the one of the clubs in school. Oh my gosh, you did go there.
I did.
You belong to a club, so to speak.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah. And so what it teaches is exclusivity, exclusivity. And so that is not
Mhm.
oneness. And we've confused oneness with exclusivity. See, oneness truly is soul. And soul truly is
Mhm.
one thing, God. God is only one thing, love. And so that is why we're all connected. The fish need men. Men need fish. It's just, we're all so interconnected. Everything that's externally outside of us is a representation of what's inside of us. Trees represent our lungs, mountains represents our higher
Mm.
consciousness, so there's no getting away from yourself. And I love
Yeah.
that Miss Abrams puts this in her book, and she goes head on with this.
She does. She does. And I'm glad that she's coming. She's coming. And you guys talk a lot alike. Every time I talk to you, I'm saying, Abiola is reminding us in the book that that separation is an illusion. Exactly what you just
It's an
said.
illusion.
It's the illusion, yes, that we are here alone. And I know how many times I felt alone. I was just really like, yeah, I'm not cared for, I'm not supported. I used to think that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
not just people, God. I'm like, it's no way God cares about me or loves me or even loves us as a collective because of so many things that were going on. And I just remember having those conversations too about that, but it's just not
It
true.
isn't
It's
true.
not
It
true.
isn't true. And you know, Deb, you talk about having those feelings, but I know that I was having those same feelings sitting in a church
Yes, yes. Sitting smack dab in the pews. Like, God.
and having a real relationship with that external God. I did. This was
Yes.
not fake for me. This was real
Mhm.
for me. And so my transformation is real for me. As real
Yes,
as
absolutely.
that external praising was, is as real as this internal shift has become. And
Yes.
sitting there in the pews, I brought that up because a lot of us, we sit in the pews and we don't even look at. I want to take us to some scripture to back up Ms. Abrams' law of oneness for those mystic Christians that believe, like I do, that the Bible does have value and that it holds value into my internal soul, that it is talking about
Mhm.
my law of oneness. But quickly before I go into that, I want to give you this. It was Happy New Year 2023, and I was sitting in the church service. Happy New Year! And the pastor said, you know, this is the law of no, not law. I'm sorry. This is the year of whatever it was. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get on board with that. And God said,
The year of new beginnings.
yeah, I don't know what it was. And
Mhm.
God said, uh, what is 3 minus 2? I said, 1. He said, that's your year of oneness. I said, okay. He says, in everything you do, from the words that you speak from out of your mouth to the moment that you wake up, I want you to see the oneness in me. Because I need you to
Mhm.
understand the God in you is more alive than the God that's externally that you're believing in. So the God in
Yes.
me, you know, told me in 2023 that that year was my year to learn the law, to live the law, not learn it because I've always known it. Because when you're raised in the church, you understand that there has to be someone. But here is it in another way. Here is the law of oneness. Here it is, and you're going to live it. That's what happened in 2023. So that
Well,
law, you know, is
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
is here in the Bible, and I want to just take you there. It's in Matthew 28:20. And it says, Lo, meaning, okay, I am with you always, even until the end of the world. If that does not talk about the law of oneness, if that does not
Mm.
squarely put it right there, that there is never a time that you were here by yourself, because it's me who's having the experience through you.
Yeah, yeah, that's the big thing though. That's the message that resonated with me
Mhm,
during the spiritual awakening, that God is having its experience through me
mhm.
and through you and through every other living thing that is here. It is God. So that really just debunks the separation myth. It really does.
Absolutely.
You are not, yeah, it
Absolutely.
debunks that myth,
Yeah.
that and everything that we think. So that brings me to every thought that we have, every action that we take, the energy that we are responsible for, is it has a rippling effect across the collective consciousness.
Mhm.
And that is huge because it gives you a little bit more stake in the collective consciousness,
Yes.
in collectivism. It's not, you can't isolate yourself. Individualism is kind of what we're taught. Everyone's on an island, every man for
Mhm.
themselves, everyone has to do, has to do, be, and think
Mhm.
in isolation.
Mhm.
But actually, me showing up with the vibration of fear invokes fear into the collective consciousness, into that whole energy
Ab-
field.
Absolutely. Because
Y-
we're one.
it
Because
because
we
we're
are
one.
one and there is no two. What, you know, because we live here in the duality level, the 3D world, which shows us duality. Let's just take this one. Everybody knows the 10 Commandments. Let's just take the one 10 Commandment. The first one, thou
Mm,
shalt not kill. Now, here in this world, we think it's just about killing someone. It isn't. It is a promise, and it's a law of oneness. Thou shalt not kill. God can't kill himself. God isn't killing himself.
Hmm.
And that's what that esoterically means, that the one that created you has given you a law that says you will never be killed. There's no way that I can
Yes.
kill myself. I'm not
Self.
trying to
Yeah.
hurt myself. What I am trying to do is awaken you within the self so that you can enjoy this experience. That's why
That
we
that
say
that
God
commandment
in me blesses the God in you.
and that commandment should say thou cannot kill. Who wrote that commandment? Because thou shalt not kill. Thou cannot. We cannot. God would not kill itself. That's what you just said?
Right. God isn't trying
We
to
need to rewrite the commandments.
no, God isn't trying to kill himself. And so the law is not an external law, which we're just applying it externally. When we
Yes.
apply that law internally, then we know the self is never to be killed. And so if I'm not to kill
Uh-huh.
myself, I'm not to kill my brother because we are one. We are not. Everyone who takes their life, that affects the consciousness.
Yes.
It doesn't
That's
mean
why
that
this
they
matters.
won't, that they're not starting over. It affects the consciousness.
Yes, yes. That's why this matters so very much. Even going forward with what's going on in the world right now, it is important for us to understand and realize that we are a collective
Uh-huh.
and that and that we are linked to each other
Uh-huh.
very deeply.
Uh-huh.
Even the Karens of the world,
Uh-huh.
even the people who want to send someone back and this is my world and this is my part of the earth and you can't come here because you're an immigrant or all of that is absolutely insane to me.
Uh-huh.
That insanity, it has to shift, and I think it shifts from our own awareness and our own
Uh-huh.
consciousness that we understand we're so deeply connected
Uh-huh.
that we have to have that type of compassion, not just for ourselves but for humanity, that collective healing, that shared power,
Absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely. I like the way I think Dolores, no, I forgot her name. The little blue book, but she says when she's asking for blessings, she says in harmony with,
In
in
harmony with.
harmony with mankind, meaning that
Yes.
my desires doesn't compete with your desires. They are specifically for
Mhm.
me. There is no competition in this because
None.
what creator is doing for you, creator is doing for me. And how is that happening? Because I have free will and I get to exercise this experience and see this experience and have this experience based on me, not on you.
Yes.
And so when we put it in harmony with mankind, we then take out the nefariousness that could possibly come and try to, or not, from our own thoughts, come to derail us from seeing our
Yeah.
oneness, continue that falsity that we are some kind of way separate, which is the greatest sin.
Yes. And out here living, as a solitary player. That's just not true. We are all
We're
co-creating
co
this
creating
together.
this.
We're all co-creating this together. So, yeah, we're not playing solitary, guys. This is all happening as a collective. And that's really important for me. That's a really big shift in my own
Uh-huh,
awareness and my consciousness. It really is because I did not see anything like that.
uh-huh.
Nothing. Yeah, I really saw that we were out here like on our own.
Right.
That's what I
And
thought.
Deb, a lot of that comes from our cultural values. Here in the Western
Wait
world,
a minute, just
go ahead.
before you break that down, excuse me. I don't want to say that we were out here alone. I felt like there is a God of my understanding that's controlling all of this.
Hmm.
However, I did not see it as you teach it now. I didn't used to. I
Right.
didn't see us being the one part
Hmm.
of God. It was like God is here and like we're all
Hmm.
here. And so
Hmm.
I'm so glad that I have shifted. I'm sorry to cut you
No,
off. Go on
no,
in.
no, 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 no. And I'm glad that you brought that point up because it leads me to this scripture where it talks about we are one body, but many members. of that one body,
Yes.
meaning we are all have the same consciousness flowing through us, but we are many members that is experiencing that consciousness flowing through us. It's just not taught
Hmm.
that way. But it's right there in our in the Bible where it talks about, having the one energy, the one flow, and we are just many interpretations of that one flow.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful. It makes me feel a lot more connected.
Hmm.
Having that awareness and knowing that that is true. It makes me feel more secure. And yeah, it makes me feel more valued,
And
actually.
I want to drive it home even more. And this is not scripture that you have to read for yourself right now, but I do want to tell you that it's in John 14 and starting at verse 10
Hmm.
and going all the way down to like maybe the 24th verse. I'm not sure. It's what this is saying is that, I and God are one. If you believe in God, you're believing in me. And you and I are one. I am in God and you are in me. Oh my God. Just it goes
Hmm.
to show you that you couldn't be away from him even if you tried. Or
Even if you tried.
and I don't even want to say him because there's a balance in the universe
Yeah.
of feminine and masculine. So
Yeah.
God, we cheapen the name God, so that sometimes I don't even like using it because we use it for everything.
Source.
But the source, the all that is, the energy in which animates all things, is the energy
Hmm.
that is in us.
Hmm.
And so,
Hmm.
whether you're out
Hmm.
here with a
Absolutely.
hate filled message or love filled message, you're still parts of me.
Yes, absolutely. I have some reflective questions because I had to really ask myself these questions. I'm going to put it up on the
Mhm.
screen. It says, where in my life am I still believing the illusion of separation?
Mm.
Is it through my relationships? Is it through my judgments of myself? Is it how I compare myself to others, how I see myself? And I have to be honest. I am going to be very honest. I was comparing myself
Yeah.
last week. And so this lets me know that I was creating this illusion for myself. When I get into a space where I am comparing myself and judging myself to others, then I'm not in alignment
Mhm.
with the all that is, with source. I'm out of alignment because I can never be separated from source. But I had to ask myself, where in my life am I actually still believing this illusion of separation? And it shows up sometimes.
Yeah.
It really does show
I
up.
know, Deb, it shows up in
How do you
me.
feel about that?
How do I feel about it? I'm right there on the same page. You know where it shows up in me? It shows up in my believing in finances.
Yeah.
You let some stuff kind of hit me wrong. I will have a knee-jerk reaction and I will want to go to my old default program, but it's no longer there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to try to access it. And even the people that I could access then using that backup, using my old mindset, are no longer available
Hmm.
for me to even reach out to because I have shifted that. And, I'm telling
Yes.
you, sometimes I'll have that little knee jerk reaction, and then all of a sudden I will, begin to encourage myself to understand that I'm the finances that I want to see. So if there's something going on in the finances, let me look at myself first. And, that is a different way of looking at things. It's just
Hmm.
different because now I have to
It's
pull.
spiritually responsible to me.
Now I'm asking myself, my oneness, hey, give me some answers that I've been seeking externally. Give me the answers. And
Hmm.
my God self always gives me the right answers, always opens the right
Hmm.
doors, always put the right people in connection with me. Everything always works out. But I cannot take ownership of that any longer because it's
Yeah.
happening in a way where I just believe and all those components line up and then they
Hmm.
manifest into my
Hmm.
material world.
That's something that I started doing about money as I call money forth. I call it forth, bringing no harm to me or anyone else,
Hmm.
anyone, because we can call money forth. And I do remember, when I got into crypto, I made a boatload of money, but it came to me, but through harm of other people because that ended up being a scam, you see.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
after 4 years of, that kind of that system working, but at the end of the day, it was a scam.
Wow.
And so, yes, it was a scam. If people know me, I would not even bring anybody to a scam.
Mm,
I am so resourceful. I am that
mm,
social worker that bridges. I connect people. I put people in different places or bring those connections to fruition so that we can all benefit from it. And it was just so sad for me. So now, as I call money forth and I speak my money affirmations, it is to bring harm to no one,
right.
me or anyone
Right.
else, because I just don't want that type of money. I don't want money that's going to bring, coming through bringing harm to someone else. I just don't. That's just where
Right.
I am with
And
that.
it shifts when you shift, it shifts, the
Yes,
perception shifts
yes.
when you shift. Yeah, who wants to bring harm to others by manifesting their own desires? We don't have to because
Lots of
we
people.
can. Yeah, that's true. We can align ourselves with the harmony and peace and the love, power, and
Yes,
sound mind that definitely animates the universe, brings forth those things that we have requested to be brought forth through our vortex or our blessings
yes.
or what the Christians would call miracles.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter how you call it. Listen, you just got to believe in something bigger than yourself and know that all things are going to work out for your highest good and that you're not here alone. That's totally the law of oneness. And when you can understand that you're not here alone, then that's half the battle. In fact, you don't feel alone anymore, really.
Yes, and we say that life is happening for us, but Neville says, and I love this, life is not happening to you or for you, it's actually happening through you. It is because we are all connected. Like it's happening through you based on what you are believing
Hmm.
to be true. And so I love that. That helps me to think about what I'm thinking all the time. I wanted to ask you this question. When have you most felt connected to something greater than yourself?
Every morning I wake up. Every morning I wake up,
Yeah.
I feel from
Mm.
2023 on when he said, "What is three minus two?" And I said, "One." Thank you for teaching me like a second grader, God.
And Source was like, okay, duh. That's right. 3 minus 2 is 1. Duh. Forget about what you hand
Right.
at the club church, the church club.
Right.
Forget about that.
That is not what you're supposed to do. What you're doing is learning the law of oneness. And after just having a full immersive year in that law of oneness and reminding myself of my law of oneness, listen, now I wake up every morning knowing that even when shit is hard and stuff has gotten hard for me. I mean, 6 months
Yeah.
ago I was homeless. So it's been hard. But
Yeah.
even in that, I woke up knowing that a God can never be homeless. I may be unhoused,
Hmm.
but I'm never homeless. And the God
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
me did exactly what the God in me was supposed to do, found me a place to stay within 32 days and gave me the money to move in. That's exactly what the God in me did. And I just know that that same God has been rescuing, being there, coddling, holding my hand, and being my one factor, even when I didn't understand it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What
Absolutely.
about you?
I felt most connected to the all that is whenever I had meditation one time and my ancestors showed up. The energy of money showed up and source as well. But my ancestors were very present. They were, talking to me saying, serve humanity, serve humanity. We will show you the way, love more. They were just giving all of these instructions. And I was in total in awe. Like, what? Are you kidding to me? And that is when I felt like I was a part of something so, so big that something could happen like that to me. Then, yeah, I know that I am a part of the all that is. So, and sometimes I have to return to that space. I mean, I
Hmm.
do a lot of meditating, but I have to return to that space whenever I feel disconnected. I have to remind myself,
Hmm.
return to that
Yes.
space
It's a
of
daily
feeling.
practice, though, Dad. It's
It
it's
is a daily
it
practice.
isn't.
That's why I think
Yeah, it's not something that you just, okay, I have this enlightenment and I have this feeling, and then you don't reinforce it. It truly is. I don't even like the word second nature because second nature
it
implies
should be
that there is
nature.
something before it. Right. I just believe in
Right.
the nature, and it becomes
Yeah.
your nature to
It
live
becomes who
this way.
you are. Yes.
Absolutely. To live
Yeah,
from this
just
way.
being your authentic self, to be your authentic self, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I
I
have one
know.
other question for you, though. I know we got to get out of here. This should be our after hours, the discussion after the discussion.
Yes.
But for you, when did you feel the furthest from your oneness?
Ooh, furthest. So I think when I was younger, it wasn't now. I just started feeling my oneness recently. So when I was younger, I wanted to commit suicide. And
Mhm.
I've had suicidal thoughts for a very long time, but they started when I was 14 years old. And I felt very disconnected from everything, everyone, because I was sexually assaulted as a young person.
Mhm.
And so I did not feel like I was connected. Like, why would something like that happen? And from, people that you know and trust. So I started very early on, kind of probably feeling disconnected from the all that is. It kind of reinforced, or I reinforced that thought as I watched things happen in the world for, towards Black people.
Mm.
And so by the time I had gotten to a certain age, I'd already solidified in my mind that God did not like Black people.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wha-
Yeah. By the time, and I was a professional, I was working in the school system just before, just when COVID hit and the George Floyd thing and all of it, and I just woke up and I was like, God can't like Black people in order for this type of thing to be happening. I have felt very disconnected. That's a really interesting question. And I had to think about that.
Yeah.
So you can tell that my spiritual awakening is like that. And I'm very happy about it. I am because I concluded that God don't like us.
So what was the thing that made you start to shift your thinking that, okay, this is one energy, individuated, and people have choices? When did your consciousness open up for you to even receive that kind of nugget so that you did
You.
dispel that?
What do you mean when? When you started channeling all my ancestors, when my dad, I guess, used you because he knows you're a conduit. So that is when it happened. And that shift happened just before, maybe before no, I can't even say it was then because yeah. It was whenever you came through and started to, yeah, you channeled all my ancestors. I mean, my father, of course, but you channeled a lot of ancestors I didn't even tell you about. I mean, I didn't even know these ancestors were there. You channeled people that you could not have known. So from that spiritual awakening, I started to like reflect on the information that my mother gave me when I was younger, the books that I read. And, my mom took me to past life regression
She was
meditations. I didn't even
so
know what that
before her
was.
time.
Yeah. I'm like, why are you? It scared me so much. I was just like, this lady, I'm following behind this lady. She's going to past life stuff. And then she gave me a book like The Course in Miracles. That book was so much over my head. I was just like, what is this lady doing? But I always wanted to follow behind my mom. She had great books and she was very smart and she was always seeking. So when you did channel my ancestors, I went back to that immediately. It was like, what she was saying was true. The foundation was already there. So it was easy for me to just kind of lean into this
Hmm.
understanding afterwards. But it's the practice, what you just said, Devette. It's the practice. You cannot just know it. You have to really
Yeah,
intentionally live who you are, which is an individuation of source, the all that is. And so that gives you power, it gives you stake, it gives you value, it gives you a lot of things, or it gives
absolutely.
me that.
It
So
does.
That's kind of where.
It does. It does. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. I didn't mean to take over the end of the show, but
No, you're not taking over nothing. We are here. This is our show. We can do what we want to
I
do.
wanted to know that because, first of all, you had such an interesting mom that during the time that you were coming up, it was really at the height of traditional Christianity being, in its heyday. And
Yes.
nobody was challenging, especially the Black church. Nobody was challenging that kind of different thinking, that forward thinking, except that man named Reverend Ike, who was saying some things that was like, now see, this is sacrilegious. That's what blacks were saying. Come to find out that
Yes.
this was soul work he was on a mission to do. That was his passion. He loved it. And he taught it so well. And he still continues to teach it. Matter of fact, you know what, Dad? He went to the University of Alabama and they interviewed him over his
Really?
science of living. And it's just those kinds of principles are what Miss Abrams has written about. Those hermetic principles
Yes.
have been here for hundreds of years for us to take advantage of, for us to know our power, for us to know that we are one and that we are not alone. That's all this message is about, that you're not alone. I don't care. Even if you have the gun right there at your face, you are not alone. You don't have to do it. You have something that's greater on the inside. And if you allow your passion to live, you will feel your life so differently and you will want to live and share your magic, your brand of magic with people.
Yes. Yes. That's beautiful. I appreciate that. Well, I wanted to leave the audience with this question. What energy are you contributing to the collective field today? What energy are you contributing to the collective field today? Is it an energy of fear? Is it an energy of love, indifference, compassion? What energy are we bringing? And that's a good question. I have to question myself about that. What am I bringing today?
Yeah.
Because it all matters what you put into the collective field. We're all a part of it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, so
I love
I
that
just
question, though.
ask people to, yeah, I ask myself that every day. I want to ask myself, what am I bringing? What energy am I bringing forth?
Hmm.
And it's important because it's that whole thing when you walk into a room, you can change
Hmm.
the energy of the room, right?
You are the thermostat. Yeah. And you
Mm-hmm.
can definitely sense when something is off in a room. You walk in a room and someone has just had an argument. You can't feel that energy. Yeah, you can. So absolutely, we are the thermostat. We set the temperature for our space, our home. And it's just so important to understand how important you are to your own oneness journey.
Yes, yes. So I'd like for you, family, to pause and reflect before you act. Also, set your intentions. Set your intentions to for the collective,
Mhm.
not just for yourself, but set your intentions to raise your own awareness and practice compassion.
Yeah,
It doesn't cost anything. I love that about me. That's one trait that I love. I'm very compassionate. I've always been compassionate. So I love that. Practice compassion. When you love and support other people, you love and support yourself. You're uplifting the web that you have been woven into.
absolutely.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
And
I do want to say this.
anything you want to
Yeah,
leave?
I do want to
Mhm.
leave a treatment today. I want to do a treatment today for oneness, the law of oneness, because I tell you, it's just a beautiful place to be. And so just repeat after me. God and I are one.
God and I are
The God in me
the God in me,
blesses the God in you,
blesses the God in you,
and we are all connected.
and we are all connected.
Yeah. And just love on
That's
that.
this the right yes, this is it. I am the all that is, and the all that is me. You say that all the time. So I
Yes.
wanted to put that up on the screen
Yes.
for everyone to remember.
You and God are one. There's no difference between you and God. So just be mindful, gods, of the words that you speak over yourself and others.
Thank you so much, sister. Thank you so much.
Yes,
So I'm going to leave you. You are never just you. Your energy travels in a web that connects each of us. So when you heal, the world heals. Remember that. It's the energetic truth that your presence changes the entire field. That is the genius of the law of oneness. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I hope that something that we said in this conversation stirred up something in your soul to bring you back closer to your divine oneness. We'll be here next week, same time, same place. We're going to have Abiola on the set with us. So thank you so much for joining us. Yes, we love you. Peace and love to everyone.